Every time you spend money, you make a decision, not just about what you buy, but about the kind of economy you want to build. When you support a local business, you help create jobs, you help families earn, you help communities grow. Small businesses are the backbone of our economy. They reinvest in our neighborhoods. They create opportunity close to home. Before you click buy or choose where to shop, pause and ask, is there a local option? Because strong local businesses mean stronger cities. Stronger cities mean a stronger nation. Support local. Build the future. This message is brought to you in the interest of economic growth and national development.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Anthony Onyemaechi Elumelu was born on the 22nd of March 1963 in Jos, North Central Nigeria, to Susanna Dominic Elumelu, originally from Delta State. Tony earned a degree in economics from Ambrose Lee University, where he laid the foundation for his future career, and then furthered his education at the University of Lagos, where he obtained a master's degree in economics. His academic journey also includes attending the Harvard Business School, where he completed the Owner of President Management program, equipping him with advanced business management skills. Tony currently serves as the chairman of Heirs Holdings, Transcorp, and United Bank for Africa (UBA), demonstrating his significant influence in the banking and investment sector. He founded the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which aims to empower African entrepreneurs through comprehensive training, mentorships, and funding opportunities. In addition to his professional achievements, he's also a family man, married to Dr. Adele Vivian Elumelu, and together they have 7 children. In 2020, his efforts were acknowledged when he was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world. Anthony Elumelu's net worth is estimated to be around $700 million, a testament to his successful ventures and strategic investments. Elumelu continues to be a driving force in the business world, advocating for sustainable economic growth and empowering the next generation of African entrepreneurs.
You have a job offer, they're going to pay you 800K per month, but you work 7 days a week, or except public holiday. Or you earn 500K per month, but you work 5 times a week. Which one do you think you will go for?
I think that 7 days a week will be better. Because of the Nigerian stress and everything. The stress in Nigeria now is crazy.
Well, I'll definitely go for the one of 500K because my mental health is very, very important. I mean, what's the purpose of working when you don't have the time to spend the money you're working for or have some good time with your family? So my mental health is going to suffer.
I'll go for the one of 500K because the pay is okay, same as one of 800K, and I have to work 5 days, so I get to rest, and I'll have more peace of mind. Like, that's just it.
Okay, that's actually very tricky. Considering the Nigerian economic system, I would go for the 800, along with side hustles and all that, because it's something that could cover up for a lot of things.
I'll go for the 500K one, because I like my peace of mind. I like rest days. How many public holidays do we have in a year? It matters. at least I'm guaranteed my Saturdays and Sundays peace of mind. Not that you'll be calling me to work on Sunday because there's no, I don't want that.
Probably go for the 500K a week. That's more sustainable. I can't work 7 days a week all my life. I'm human. I need to sleep.
I think the 500K because at least I still need time to rest for myself. So yeah, I think I'll prefer the 500K.
I'll go for the 500K for 5 days because I don't think I can do the 7 days per week, just working non-stop. It's very exhausting for me because I think as humans we need sometimes to relax, take a weekend off, play basketball, something, but I can't do the 7 days per week. I prefer the 5 days.
They say money doesn't change who you are, it just enhances who's already there. So if you're living your life a certain way, let's say you're just blowing money, you're buying drinks, you're buying drugs, what is the money going to do? Is that going to change you or elevate you or just make you spend more money in that area? Why the reparations? That's my question. Well, what is it going to do?
Or you believe that Europe and America should do more for Africa?
Well, in what way?
Good afternoon. When I heard you in our studio, what caught me was your voice. I'm really attracted by your voice. Well, let's start the discussion by getting to know you. Can you run us through your career and the kind of person that you are?
Okay, my name is Lord Frank. I'm a voiceover artist and actor. I've been in the industry for a little over a decade now. And I have done everything from movies, TV series, and I've even been on radio for a little bit. Majority, I do voiceovers, and I produce adverts. Yeah.
Voiceovers, what does that mean to the ordinary man?
Voiceovers are when you just have your voice. Nobody sees you, but they can hear your voice on maybe ads on TV or on radio.
So you must be into advertising, marketing, communications?
That's correct, yes.
What's been your experience?
It's been okay so far. It's been okay so far. There's been ups and downs here and there, just like anything else, but it's been okay so far.
You have this American accent. Has it got to do with your training?
A little bit.
Tell us about your training.
Well, I stayed in the States for a little while, close to 20 some odd years. And I did a couple of courses in terms of radio and TV production.
I'm sure you know Hollywood.
Yes.
Have you had any relationship with Hollywood at all?
Not really.
Do you plan to?
I did at the time. I almost got the extent I almost got close to Hollywood is I almost had an agency. One of the things that you have to do as an actor in Hollywood is get a talent agency, because those are the guys that get you the job. So almost got a talent agency.
We have so many radio and television stations, particularly in Lagos. Have you listened? Have you watched any? What's your opinion?
It's not bad. We're doing all right.
Because I believe that our artists, our presenters tend to be necessarily American or African. And I thought we should have a Nigerian voice. What do you think?
No, I would agree with you. I mean, one of the things that, lets you know you're in a particular country is by what you hear on the radio and things like that, the kind of music, the kind of presenters they have. Yeah, so that's one of the telltale signs that you're in a particular country. So you're absolutely right. So when I turn on the radio, I should hear a Nigerian voice.
What is broadcasting like now globally with social media? Everybody wants to be a journalist now with social media. And it's affecting broadcasters.
Right, you're absolutely right.
What's the way out?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have the answer for that. But unfortunately, attention is currency nowadays. And whoever gets to present first, gets the amount of views. But at the end of the day, people who are more concerned about genuine, true stories will find their platform.
You are so informed and so educated and so trained.
Oh, well, thank you.
What are you trying to bring back to the country?
Well, I've been here a while, so I think genuineness, authenticity is one thing, right? I believe strongly, and that's what I was telling someone earlier, I believe strongly that no matter what you want to show the world, the most important thing is the vehicle that you're using to present it to the world. We could be as Nigerian as we want to be, but the production value has to be as quality as anything, was what everybody's used to.
Let's talk about branding.
Okay.
seems like everybody wants to brand.
Yes, yes.
Is it the right way to go about it? Or do you use the media? What has branding got to do with it? Or
I believe branding sells, you know. If you believe you have something unique, something that nobody else has, yeah, brand it, you know, brand it, because that comes with a whole lot of things. I think people look at you different when you have a brand.
now we're talking about climate change.
Yes.
In this part of the world, we seem to be far behind. What do you think the media in this part of the world should be doing as regards climate change, sustainability, the green revolution kind of, yes?
I think it's a question of how important is it to us. If there's any truth to it, now I'm going to sound pretty bad. If there's any truth to it, then the focus should be on it, you know, whether it could be alternative energy, how we can be more concerned about how to use those alternative energies as opposed to what our major source of power is, you know, oil and generators and things like that. So it just depends.
We have so many festivals in Nigeria. In Lagos, we've just done Eyo. We have Ofala, we have Agogo. Do you have suggestions on how we can market and monetize it for economic development?
Like, we could build stories around these festivals, you know, they can be the core of our filmmakings or our music, you know, the way that people will be so fascinated about it. By itself, it's doing pretty good. You know, people are already coming from all over the world to come and enjoy these festivals, but I think we can do more. And that comes to how we all have to work together, network, how we can bring what we believe makes us authentic to the rest of the world. We can work together.
America and Nigeria, is there a way we can cooperate in the areas of culture, tradition, music, particularly music? Because our musicians are making hay everywhere now. Is there a way the American government or the American people itself can rally around and have a kind of interrelationship?
Well, I don't know, I can't speak on that particularly, but I think they're collaborating okay. I think they're doing well. Burna Boy is making music with different people, you know, Wizkid and, you know, Rema. All these people are making music with different people, so I think they're doing okay.
What about our fashion? How do we promote it and how do we market it and how do we inspire the ones at home? How do we go about it?
Like you were saying earlier, that social media has done so much, right? And these individuals just lock in on social media, you know, the word will get out.
So how do we look at our festivals? How do we refine them using technology and using the wherewithal so that we just don't repeat the same thing every year?
There was a gentleman that did an AI video of elderly. I don't know if you came across this thing. It was on YouTube. He put it up. He did an AI video of the elderly in different African attire, different fashions and stuff like that. So that's the way we're going. You know, we can take things that maybe like the festival or whatever it is from our traditions and just combine it with AI and present it to the world.
If I talk about the diaspora, we have a very strong Nigerian diaspora abroad. Is there a way we can encourage them? And is there a way we can unite them up there so that they can contribute to the development of this place? Because what has been happening are just isolated cases.
Sure.
And they need to be formed into a group, a formidable group, to come to the aid of particularly Nigeria. What should be the role of these diaspora people?
I think it takes a group to open that up, that discussion, you know. A group or maybe an association or, you know, an organization to put together and say, you know, we're looking for our Nigerian brothers and sisters in different places to, you know, come together, and there has to be transparency, there has to be structure. I think if they see the transparency and they see the structure and they see that they're really helping individuals to build and better Nigeria, I think they'll get involved.
I write a lot, but even some of my colleagues have observed that there's a shortage of African writers. We're all riding on the fame and popularity of Wole Soyinka, Chinua Achebe. The stars, the young ones are not coming up. Is there a way we can fashion out a training program or a project?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, when you look at the entertainment world, what's selling is the Nigerian Idol, the African voices and things like that. And it's more tailored towards musicians. I think if there were more competitions or contests in regard to writers,
yes,
I think some people will, you know, come out and will inspire a new generation of writers, you know, and having the likes of you or Wole Soyinka being the judges and stuff like that, and really making it a big celebration. You know, people will turn out. You know,
you are doing voiceovers, and I know you'll be concerned about AI.
Yes, yes.
I'm not fascinated by AI.
Okay.
Because I think it will kill creativity.
Sure.
So how will AI affect your business and my business?
It really depends on who you're talking to. Because some people may say, I have the idea, I have what I know I want to do. AI just helps me go from point A to point B a little quicker, and that's all it does. And some people can say, okay, let me just sit back and type, give me an idea. That's where we're now in trouble. I think that's the difference there.
I'm going to ask a very sensitive question, and it's been in the news for some time now. This issue of reparation. Do you think that the black people, the Africans, will deserve reparation from Europe?
Wow, that is really sensitive. It's really sensitive.
That's why I said it's sensitive.
Right.
Because some governments are already doing it. Germany is doing it.
Yeah.
France is doing it. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah. I guess my question is, to what ends? They say money doesn't change who you are, it just enhances who's already there. So if you're living your life a certain way, let's say you're just blowing money, you're buying drinks, you're buying drugs, what is the money going to do? Is that going to change you or elevate you or just make you spend more money in that area? Why the reparations? That's my question. Well, what is it going to do? What's it going to do? Because there's so many individuals that are excelling, even way before we were going to talk about this day and age. Back then, a long time ago, there was a place called Black Wall Street in New York. I think it's in New York. That it was ran by all black Americans, and it was doing well until they got messed up. But the point I'm trying to make is, what is the goal of the reparations? What is really the goal?
Or you believe that Europe and America should do more for Africa?
Well, in what way?
Technically, training, investment.
Okay, I think it boils down to trust.
Let's talk about politics a little bit. And you can't talk about politics without talking about democracy in Africa. What's your perception of the prevailing democratic atmosphere in Africa? Our leaders, our political leaders.
Unfortunately, they say people deserve the leaders they get. What pool are these leaders coming from? And just being honest, what kind of people are we? If we're kind of people who have, a level of pride in our country, a level of trust, a level of integrity, then the leaders we choose will be different, I think. We have to start with ourselves.
I'm not a youth. But we have 70%, almost 60% of our population are youth. What do you think we should be doing with these guys? Some unemployed, some employed, some with some skills, but no support. What kind of support would you recommend? From individuals, from government, and from established people like you?
There's so many things that we can do with our youth, so many things. There are factories that can be built, there's farmland that can be placed in. There's so many things that we can use. And that goes back to how much love we have for our country, how much love we have for our people. And like I said, it's just about pride. If you have that much pride in the motherland, then all our youths are ready to work. They're not lazy. At least we can't say they're lazy because we haven't given them the opportunity. We have to say, okay, to really see that, okay, you have an opportunity. Are you ready? Are you ready to work? We can't tell them. We can't say it because we haven't given them the opportunity.
Finally, 5 years from now, what will Nigerian entertainment industry, music industry, what peak will it reach? How will you rate it in 5 years' time? Our entertainment industry, Hollywood, our musicians. We have lots that we have to offer.
That's a very good question. So right now, music industry is doing quite well, very well, almost in terms of same level as music industry anywhere else. And Nollywood is getting really close. It's really, really getting close. So I think in 5 years, right, we'll have a lot of partnerships. We'll have a lot of more of our stuff being out there. If we just stay the course, the way we're going now, I think in 5 years, we'll be revered around the world.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Yeah, thank you.
Fellow Nigerians, did you know that constituency and executive projects in your communities are not gifts from your legislators? They are projects sponsored by the legislators and funded by the federal government to improve your life and the lives of those around you. These projects belong to you. Without your vigilance, they might never be completed. Don't allow them to fade away into unfulfilled promises. Stand up, take ownership, monitor their progress, demand accountability, and report concerns to ICPC. Call our toll-free line now on 0800 2255 4272 or WhatsApp only on 0806 656 4726. This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) with support from MacArthur Foundation and the Center for Democracy and Development in Africa (CDD).
A startling new report by the African Cities Research Consortium (ACRC) has pulled back the curtain on the deepening distortions in the Lagos housing market. Despite existing regulations, the study reveals that landlords in Lagos continue to demand up to 2 years' rent in advance, a practice that is crippling residents and highlighting a massive failure in state regulation. The 73-page document titled The Lagos City Report paints a troubling picture of a housing system under extreme strain. It exposes widespread irregularities and alleged corruption in the allocation of government-built housing, where affordability and access remain persistent challenges. According to the report, cooperative societies, particularly those providing financing for land acquisition and development, could play a critical role in addressing the city's housing deficit. However, much of the current housing stock is of poor quality and weakly complies with building standards. The barriers to entry are high. Construction costs, expensive land registration fees, and professional fees are ultimately passed on to buyers, making home ownership an unattainable dream for many. Furthermore, the report underscores the near absence of accessible mortgage options for low-income earners. Beyond affordability, the city faces escalating environmental risk. As a low-lying coastal city with poor drainage, Lagos is highly susceptible to flood threats linked to climate change. Currently, an estimated 18% of the state is vulnerable to flooding, putting waterfront and coastal communities at heightened risk of both environmental hazards and forced evictions. At the launch of the report, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Professor Folashade Ogunshola, emphasized the need for collaborative action. She noted that the study examines the city's unique political structure and its influence on development outcomes. Professor Ogunshola identified major concerns, including 1. High housing cost, 2. Inadequate flood protection, 3. Persistent infrastructure gaps in electricity, water supply, and roads, and lastly, rising inequality and security concerns. Reaffirming the university's commitment to research and innovation, Professor Ogunshola urged stakeholders to work together to make Lagos more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient. Echoing these sentiments, Professor Taibat Lawanson, City Management Associate at ACRC and one of the report's authors, described the work as both functional and insightful. Lawanson explained that the report adopted what she called a solidarity-driven approach, highlighting efforts by public institutions and security agencies to better map informal settlements. With increasing migration into Lagos, she noted that attention must now expand beyond the urban core to include rural areas and other underserved communities.
Hello, Nigeria. Hello, Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Boggaballs, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News. Keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria, and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
A new generation of Nigerian artists is breathing life back into the age-old craft of bead making, a tradition that has adorned the necks, wrists, and waists of Nigerian women for centuries. Beads have always held a significant place in Nigerian culture, symbolizing wealth, status, and identity. In ancient times, they were used as currency and were integral in various rites of passage from birth to marriage. However, with the advent of modernity, the demand for traditional bead making dwindled as imported jewelry and contemporary fashion took center stage. In this special report, Bayo Olaoye will explore the noticeable resurgence in the popularity of beads, fueled by renewed interest in African heritage and craftsmanship. This revival is not merely a nostalgic nod to the past, but a vibrant contemporary movement that blends tradition with modern fashion trends. Artisans are at the forefront of this revival, infusing new life into beadwork by incorporating innovative designs that appeal to today's fashion-conscious consumers. Their collections, which range from bead necklaces to bold statement earrings, have found their way into the collections of top Nigerian designers.
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success story, except it didn't happen overnight.
I'm happy to be here. One of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. The point being that Nigeria has so much to bring to the world in terms of these things, but we will be bringing fresh energy, fresh ideas, a fresh engagement, and we're obviously open to collaboration. But hip-hop, it never dies. What's the difference between Thor and Shango? Thor is approaching $50 billion in revenue. Shango's broke somewhere outside Lagos. And that's a lack of imagination on our part, Africa, and they're all Nigerian. So to be seen and to be noticed is very hard if you're not in the place where all the noise is being made.
Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of SOUQ Business Landscape, where we go beyond the headlines to uncover what happened, why it matters, who benefits, who is affected, and what comes next. I am Olumide Shokoya. I'm also joined by Dr. Idahosa Osamanze. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to SOUQ Business Landscape.
Olumide, good morning. Viewers out there, good morning. Another day to give thanks to Almighty God for the renewal of our life's license.
I like how you put it, life's license.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, let's get on to what today's business. So, coming up on SOUQ Business, the Central Bank of Nigeria is pushing wider adoption for digital payment as it seeks to expand financial inclusion and boost economic activities. Now, Nigeria's energy sector faces a growing skill gap Could a shortage of technical talent threaten the country's energy future? Now, Dangote Refinery raises petrol prices as global crude oil tops $93 a barrel. What does this mean for transport costs, businesses, and households? The World Bank targets 32 million Nigerians for new electricity connections and plans to expand broadband access to 58 million more people. Can these ambitious targets transform productivity? Also, the federal government moves to revive Delta Steel with a $1.3 billion investment. Could a long-dormant plant become a catalyst for jobs and industrial growth? And states record 435 billion naira from a new infrastructure and security fund. Where is the money going? Will Nigerians see the impact? All these stories and more on SOUQ Business Landscape coming after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to SOUQ Business Landscape. So the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has called for greater use of alternative payment channels to expand financial inclusion and boost economic activity. Speaking at the 2026 CBN Fair in Lokoja, the Acting Director of Corporate Communications, Hakama Sidi Ali, said digital payment systems remained critical to improving access to financial services. She also highlighted recent economic developments, including a decline in headline inflation from 15.91% in June to 15.43% in July, while foreign exchange reserves rose above $52.5 billion. The CBN says its reform is also includes changes to foreign exchange markets, banking sector, recapitalization, and the Nigerian Payment System Vision 2028. Doctor, this is a very good call. I know the CBN and all the analysts have always talked about the larger chunk of the informal sector not being captured in this new economic reforms. So what do you think? What are the benefits of bringing the informal, formal into a digitalized payment system? What do we stand to gain? What does this mean?
Well, I think it means a lot for us as a country. It's also to say that we are not being left behind. We are moving with the same speed at each other nation is moving. The CBN has a vision they call Payment Vision System 2028, which is supposed to expand financial inclusion for Nigeria to about 95% of our population. And I think this is the kind of encouragement that CBN officials need to actually drive within the Nigerian society to see a lot of people included in those finances. What does it mean for us? It also means for people in the rural area that they are having access to payments, access to deposit money from their farms and reduce the risk of carrying cash in their hands. And then, of course, most importantly, which of course the people in the city enjoy so well, is access to credit. You know the way people borrow from fintech. You don't need to walk into the bank to go and be presenting certificate of occupancy.
Yes.
Just think about a woman who needs to buy seed to plant in the farm. That may not be up to 30,000, can actually do that on the comfort of her house and is able to have access to credit. All these things are the benefits that, of course, it portends for the Nigerian economy. And again, for CBN, we are able to see the level of the cash that is in the hands of citizens and reduce it drastically. And of course, that also helps in dealing with issues that has to do with crime and the rest of it. Quite a fantastic idea to get everybody included.
But the few things that also must pay attention to is the issues that there are a lot of issues with cyber security.
Yes.
Where, of course, people are exposed unduly. I can imagine that they are asking you, an old woman in the village, to send a code, and then you send the code, and all her life saving is wiped off. So we must also work around that. So while we are driving this inclusion, we must tighten up cybersecurity space. There's also the problem of interoperability. Of course, we talk about how the fintech are connected to the commercial bank so that when people do transactions, then they are easily validated. You know, recently there was this campaign online where a lot of people were complaining that people get fake alerts. And then you send money and then you get a fake alert and you thought that transaction is completed. And lo and behold, the alert is not from the bank. All these issues are issues that, of course, government must take care of while we are doing the expansion. I remember a few weeks back, I was doing a transaction with a school, and I discovered that I have done payment, and those payments are not credited to me. I tried to register, I can't get registered. I went even to the school, and they could not resolve it. And they just told me and said, wait, that maybe by the time you are done with the program, they'll be able to do the reconciliation. So these are issues that actually create suspicion within digital payment environment, that people can do a transaction, and if there's an issue, you are not able to resolve it immediately, and you are not even sure whether you are on the course of resolving it. So that level of interoperability that we can, the visibility of both the fintech and commercial banks at real time is also very important. And hopefully we are also trusting God that in terms of laying the fiber optics to ensure we also reach with deep internet penetration is another issue that, of course, government would need to work on. But by and large, it's a big issue that we are seeing more people participate in this digital platform through mobile money, POS, and the rest of the services that are available within the space.
All right, so one of the issues that I think I've seen to be a bit rampant is this issue of people hacking one's account and stealing money, and by the time you rush to the bank, it seems like there's little or no hope. How do you think we can, because that's why some, how will I put it, Generation X or the older folks feel, you hear some old folks saying they don't do anything internet banking, that they don't want it, they don't anything because it gives room for hacking, it gives room for fraud and all that. How do we bridge this gap?
The risk is massive. Really, really very massive. And in most cases, they're also underreported. Because some people don't even want CBN to know that their system has failed. So, I mentioned yesterday about a corporation that was saying that in the last 3 or 4 days that
they haven't been able to trace.
They hit their business and moved out about 3 billion.
Without any trace.
How do you trace it? How do you trace it? Are dispersed into the internet.
Wow.
So these are part of the real challenge that, of course, digital system also portend. That how do we really create cyber security that these things are not feasible for people to move money out. And because of the nature of the environment, I remember my friend, the forensic, was telling me some time ago in the UK, and he said to me, that there was a kind of a crime that happened in South Africa, and the guy wired the money. And in less than 2 hours, the money has traveled overseas country into about 26 different accounts. So you are not even able to say, okay, where the money is. So in split seconds, the money has moved into thin air. Because, of course, you know that fraud is a syndicate. These are the challenges that, of course, CBN need to actually work on. The bigger elephant in the room is cyber crime. So how do we ensure that as people are onboarding into the digital space, we are able to protect either their digital assets or their hard-earned income without one criminal or fraudster wiping out what people spend their life working to gather.
All right. Some people have also said that, or accused bank officials of sometimes being in collusion with some of these fraud. What's your thought on this?
Well, it may not be too far from the truth. My friend says, village people say a lot of things. You know, we say in our community, it is the rat that is inside that tells the one outside that there is food inside the house. So for this to be able to happen, you must have some insider dealings who are linking up with the people inside the system to get some of all these things happen. Take, for example, even in terms of the things that they call internet fraud, the banks are not immune. Because there are key staffs in the bank who understand that these people are frauds. But they are the one who also help them to move the money out as quickly as possible. So you find that that complicity cannot be ruled out. That there are some people within every system that are as culpable as those who are outside of the system. But I always say this, especially when I speak about security in our country, and if you look at it, people, a society with a huge moral decadence, you know, entering and filtering into every system, of course, portend danger to those systems. The thing that affected our country, secret courtism, was not anything good at all. If there's anything he has done, it's deadened our conscience and our morality. And a lot of people who participated in this kind of activity while they were in the higher institution, except that many of them had come to embrace maybe the gospel of the cross, it is difficult for them to live outside of that kind of environment. And so this is where the challenge really is for many businesses, that you have recruited people, yes, they are very intellectual or intelligent, but morally depraved. And that moral depravity is the bane of every society. Because if you have people with low values and you employ them in your system, they can help you destroy that system.
All right, so future outlook. What should the CBN look for? How can we be able to achieve this vision 2028? And can Nigeria truly go cashless?
Yeah, there's no country in the world that is cashless. Every country still manage some level of cash. You still see, but it's the fact that it's not dominant. You go to some places, you still see coin.
I don't think we have. Do we still have coins?
Yeah, in Nigeria, you don't even see coin. If you go to Europe, you go to England, UAE,
even US,
Morocco, South Africa, Kenya, you see a lot of coins. People still use coin. So they are the lowest form and denominations with the society. So they are really not preferring carrying big cash along. So you still go out with some coins in your pocket and the rest of it. But the opportunity to do payments, whether it's cash or transfer, is available within the system. So I'm not sure that we are able to actually do 100% cashless. Is to reduce the volume of cash in society because it's naturally known that cash is a natural attraction for crime. And if you reduce the volume of cash in society, chances are that, of course, the rate of crime can also go down a little bit. So I think that is what people are thinking about. But to say that you want to do it 100% without cash, it's not possible. But what should CBN be looking at is the fact that We must find indigenous way to strengthen our system so that hackers are not able to penetrate those systems. And then, of course, invest in digital infrastructure that will help strengthen that system also and give access to many Nigerians. We need electricity for this to work.
Yes.
We need internet access for this to work. And therefore, there's a lot of investment to be done in the area of infrastructure to achieve the PSV 2028.
All right, final question. Do you think in order to reduce cash circulation, we should put a cap to the amount of cash being moved around?
Yeah, I think so. In my own view, I just felt that there was this opportunity that we missed in 2023, which was through the Naira redesign.
Okay.
If I were the CBN governor, that would have been the opportunity for me to have removed the higher denomination note from circulation. That alone would have driven a lot of people to embrace cashless policy. But unfortunately, we missed it. And we still spent huge volume to print 500 naira note, 1,000 naira note. What government would have certainly do was to remove all those 500, 200 naira and let there just be 50 naira, 100 naira note. So anybody who wants to carry 1 million to go and give somebody, he will know he has to hire a boss. So these are the kind of things that government should naturally do to discourage people carrying cash. That was a chance, but it was missed. And I think that we need to really discourage people carrying a lot of cash. It will go a long way in addressing some of the issues that we're talking about. Because if money are moving hand, and we are seeing them on digital payment channels and the rest of it, it is easy for law enforcement agencies to be able to track where cash and all of these things are going through. But as long as we are still dealing in cash, just imagine that they're asking somebody to bring a ransom of 50 million.
In cash?
In cash. And they go to ATM and they are gathering 1,000. And that can enter one small Ghana of gold and take it into the bush. Just imagine that they are going to put 50 naira in that. The person carrying it, people who see him in the road farm will ask him and say, where are you carrying all these things to? Because you will need motor and not even wheelbarrow to roll it. So these are the kind of things that you can actually do, and it will discourage a lot of crime. Because by the time they start to send you account number, your BVN will give you out where that money is. So all these things are things that CBN needs to put in place and see how to discourage people from carrying large cash, and then that also can help reduce crime within society.
All right, let's move on to the next story for today. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has warned that Nigeria's energy sector faces a growing shortage of technical and specialized skills. NNPCL Chief Human Resource Officer Kazachiang Nuhu said the Petroleum Industry Act, the decade of gas-growing local participation and global energy transition were creating a new demand for technical talent. Now, speaking at an Oil and Gas Trainers Association of Nigeria conference in Warri, Nuhu said artificial intelligence, digitalization, and automation were also changing the skills required by the industry. So he called on urgent reskilling and repositioning of workers, warning that Nigeria could lose its competitive position in the emerging energy economy if the gap is not addressed. So, Doctor, what skills are currently, why are these technical skills short in supply? And should we go for artificial intelligence? Should we raise more? Should we look towards education? What can be done?
I think globally, the way life is lived today is quite different from the way it was a decade ago. A lot of things have changed. And incidentally, we are not moving with that pace of change. And therefore, if that is the case, which means we will always continue to play a catch-up game with the Western society, who are the major producer of technology. And I think that is what it is. I can't stop using this example of Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, who said the reason why they remain in China is not because labor is cheap in China. They are only in China because there is a reservoir of material engineers in China that you cannot find anywhere else in the world. Because in terms of labor, that China is competing with countries like US because they're also highly being paid. So what that means is that if you have shortage in terms of human capital, even when you have a reservoir of natural resources, it's useless. And for people to even bring money to come and invest in your place will be difficult. Because an investor who is wanting to come and start a business in your space also is thinking of the cost of raising or the human capital that's going to translate those investments into profit. So you will find that it's either you are going to ship in human beings from outside. And we saw this happen even with the Dangote refinery.
Yes.
Where it's on record that over 11,000 people were recruited from outside this country to work in that refinery. Imagine that those people were Nigerians.
More job creations.
Not just more job creation, the cost of doing that business in the Dangote refinery will go down drastically. If Nigerians are paid $1,000 in that place, the cost of maintaining one expatriate will be like $4,000. So what that means is that it's increasing the cost of production for the person who is doing that business. So we must also be able to factor this into our conversation. And I think this is where this matter really is of great significance as we speak. Now, what are the problems that are creating these gaps? Let me give you an example. Nigerians are talking about redesigning curricula.
Yes.
But every time we do the redesign of our curricula, there is no emphasis that is placed on the people to deliver the curricula.
The teachers, lecturers?
Oh, yes. So we spend money buying equipment, but there are not people who are skilled enough to use those equipment. Now, if you remember, I don't know if you had grown up enough to know when Bas Fafuwa was the Minister of Education in Nigeria. He introduced the 6334 system in Nigeria.
Yes.
And the whole idea of the 6334 system was to be patterned after the German educational system, where children who go to school are not just being taught theory, they are taught practicals. And the government of Ibrahim Babangida then imported equipment for mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, carpentry, and all manners of things, and was procured for all the secondary schools in Nigeria. No one was left, even including the ones in the rural area. But unfortunately, those equipment wasted away in those schools because there were no people who could use them. And I remember in the village where we came from, those equipment were vandalized. Eventually, people didn't know what it was. Sold them as iron condemn and the rest of it because they couldn't use it. So that was a huge gap at that time because you were thinking of changing a school system, but you have not trained the people who are to use the equipment. So it was like putting the cart before the horse. Then, all of a sudden, it became important that we must study computer in school. And you know, in your university days, there's a course they call GST.
Yes.
That was computer science. And every university graduate was made to do GST in the early 90s. Computer programming. While the world was going up, we were using Fortran 77. Some people were fortunate to use Cobalt. Now, but this programming language were all out of existence. But the major thing was the fact that many people were seconded from mathematics to become professor in computer engineering without themselves being trained. Just simply reading the book to pass the knowledge to people. And that cannot help our educational system. And I think that if we must be deliberate in changing the way our school systems are run, as we are thinking about curricular redesign or curriculum redesign, we must also be thinking about the people who are going to deliver that curriculum and ensure that they are given adequate and proper training to be able to match that kind of environment. And I think that was the path that Lee Kuan Yew took in Singapore. He wanted to create a financial empire, but also realized that if people are going to bring their money into Singapore, they must have local hands who understand how this works. And so they deliberately nurtured talents. They're looking for people who were quite very intelligent. They sent them to abroad, according to him, places that were not too expensive, where they could also acquire this skill. He said at the time they could not afford America. So they could go to Europe, they could go to Asia, train these people, and then they ensure that they come back to Singapore to create an army of a workforce that will support the system that they were building. And I think this is quite important. Our leaders must learn from this. This is what the NLPC is speaking to here. So you have a lot of people who are graduates from Petroleum Engineering University right here in Nigeria. But what do? We still look for people who can do fabrication for us because they've not been taught in that regard. So our academic system is too theoretical to be able to support development. And I think we need to create a balance between theory and practice. And when we do, then we'll be able to get the requisite skill set that can drive industrialization within the space.
All right, so looking at the future, for universities, do we restructure more funding? Should government, the federal government, even be handling the affairs of universities? Also, training institutions. Should we set up more training institutions? What about energy companies? How can they close this gap?
Well, I have a little challenge, and I don't think, honestly speaking, it's more about funding. There's a problem within the Nigerian education. I think it's the psyche that needs to change. If it's only TED Fund that supported the Nigerian university, we should be able to see those change. Because there's so much money that is coming through the Education Tax Fund into the university system. But how those funds are used, they are all different ballgame. And you see, because you have a system where accountability is very weak. I was sharing on our sister station the other day, Robert Klickgard, a professor who did a calculation for corruption, said that the formula for corruption is where you have excessive monopoly plus discretion and there's less of accountability, then the environment you find is corruption. And I think that is the system that operates through every area in our economy.
Yes.
So you have a lot of monopoly in how the TED Fund is used in the university. The vice chancellor and the management of the school has discretion to use those funds. They determine where it goes to. And the accountability framework is very weak. So rather than actually training people hands-on, you find that they are using those money to build auditoriums that may not even be required. So this is where the challenge is. We must deliberately invest in human capital, because in the final analysis, it is what you need to transform what you have under your ground or what you have in the atmosphere into goods and services. And if this human resource is not properly trained, you cannot compete with other countries. So because you have to import people, and the cost of importing people is high, and if it is factored into your overall cost, your price will not be competitive compared to places where you have those talents in bulk. So I think that our university system must be deliberate. Accountability framework has to be strengthened. So that even if they are giving you money to go and do research, the research must solve societal problems. Because we also see situations where people get grants and the first thing they do is either buy a car or build a house. And in some places they marry a new wife. And then a wishy-washy document is put together as the research that's not producing anything for society. I think people must be given targets to say that if you have a fund that's coming from the system to go do a research, it must solve a problem. And if it's not solving a problem, then that money, you have to account for it. So these are the things that I feel that we need to put in place. Not necessarily more money, but that the little money that we have, we are using it justifiably very well.
All right. So should energy companies also invest more aggressively in reskilling its existing workers, or should they also partner with some of these universities and research institutions?
I think it's very important that they have to invest. Yeah, but again, for you to invest in reskilling, you must have the resource persons who will do the reskilling for you.
We don't have that in Nigeria.
So that's where it matters. Because at the end of the day, you are going to fall back again to the institutions of learning. This is where the partnership becomes very weak. And that's why my emphasis is the fact that those in the tertiary institutions in Nigeria must deliberately prepare themselves to be able to solve societal problems. I've said this year, time without number. A friend of mine, he lectures in Vancouver, and he was telling me that he spends 70% of his time with corporations than he does with students. And that's deliberate, because his role as a professor is to solve the problem of society. So teaching for him to students is 30% of the value that he brings to the university. So 70% of his time, he said, he spends more with corporations. Because even the things that he's going to teach to the students are problems that are coming from the corporation. That synergy, we need to build it. But of course, like I said, those who are the professors within the ivory tower must also be ready to be accountable. It's not just the fact that the company is giving you money and they are not seeing value for the money. So they must be ready to do what is needful so that when companies are funding research, then we see that those funds are actually going into those researches. So it's that kind of balance that we need in our economy, so that the mindset of, oh, it really doesn't matter, we can do away with it, because that only leads to mediocrity. But if it becomes something that people are passionate about, that they want to solve societal problem, and that is a passion that's burning in them, then you can fund it. But not just to fund the lifestyle of some people. And that's why sometimes when I hear the argument, I say, politicians are earning so much money, lecturers should also live a good lifestyle. I don't think it's about lifestyle. I think it's about investing in the career that you're called to do and say, how do I solve a problem for society? That's what should be funded, and not just the lifestyle of people who teach.
Well, there was a report I saw this morning. Delta State Governor says he's only earning 900,000 naira as salary.
Well, we all know that we've said that time without number. I think it was Patrick Lumumba who argued once and said he doesn't know what those big politicians are saying in the government that all of us else cannot see. Because it does not make economic sense for you to be investing over 20 billion to secure an office to earn less than 200 million naira for a period of 4 years.
Yes.
But miracles do happen.
Well, as Doctor says, miracle does happen. All right, let's move on to the next story. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has increased its petrol gantry price from 20 naira per litre from 1,165 naira to 1,185 naira. Now, the new price takes effect from midnight on August 21st, 2026, as international crude oil prices continue to rise. Now, Brent crude fixtures climbed above $93 per barrel on Thursday, reaching a 3-week high amid rising tensions between the United States and Iran. Now, the latest Dangote price remains below at some Lagos depots, where petrol is currently selling between 1,190 naira and 1,200 naira per litre. So, Doctor, this 20 naira increase, how significant is it for prices, cost of transportation? How will it affect it? Will it affect it significantly or not?
Well, it may not significantly affect the cost of transportation. But again, it can help the purchasing power of the driver and the conductor.
Increase? Oh,
yes, their purchasing power. If you look at what happened when people are driving, the psychology is that even if it is 1 kobo difference, it means something to some people.
Yes.
Because if you accumulate 1 kobo in 30 places, it becomes 30 kobo. And it becomes very significant. So 20 naira is a lot when you look at what it is. But like we have said, I think my appeal is to Uncle Donald Trump to see how we can resolve the crisis at the Strait of Hormuz as quickly as possible so that this distortion to market can actually be taken off the way. Because the entire economy...
All right, let's quickly go on a short break.
Do you know where your money goes each month? Rent, food, transport, subscriptions. Small expenses add up faster than we think. That daily coffee, that impulse purchase. Over time, they can cost thousands. But here's the good news. Financial control starts with awareness. Track your spending. Create a simple budget. Build an emergency fund, even if it starts small. 3 months of savings can protect you from unexpected setbacks. Financial stability doesn't happen by accident. It happens by plan. Track it, plan it, grow it. An informed nation is a financially resilient nation. This is a public service message.
Rest isn't laziness, it's your body's reset button. Hello, my name is Emmanuel Olise, and this is SOUQ Health Tips. Today, let's discuss one of the most underrated health boosters, sleep. You can eat right and exercise daily, but without good sleep, your body never truly recovers. Number 1, sleep is cellular repair. During deep sleep, your body heals, builds muscles, and restores energy. It's also when your brain clears out toxins and strengthens memory. 2, stick to a schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Your body thrives on rhythm. 3. Create a sleep sanctuary. Dim lights, cool temperature, and 0 screens before bed. Your bedroom should tell your body it's time to rest. 4. Avoid late caffeine and heavy meals. They interfere with deep sleep stages. Opt for herbal tea or light snacks instead. In summary, sleep isn't optional. It's essential medicine. Protect it like you would any prescription. I'm Emmanuel Lise, and this is SOUQ Health Tips. Sleep well, your body's counting on it.
Known as the father of African literature, Chinua Achebe was born on the 16th of November 1930 in Ogidi, now Anambra State, eastern Nigeria. He was born to Isaiah Okafor Achebe, a teacher and an evangelist, and Janet Anenichi Iluebunam, a vegetable farmer. Achebe has reshaped the global understanding of African identity through the power of storytelling. Raised during the twilight of colonial rule, Achebe's education was steeped in both Igbo tradition and the Western values of post-colonial Christianity. As a student at the University of Ibadan, he became fiercely critical of how Africa was portrayed in Western literature. Achebe believed that Western literature often painted Africa as a dark and primitive continent, but he sought to tell the African people's lens. In 1958, Achebe's groundbreaking novel Things Fall Apart shattered colonial narratives through the tragic story of Okonkwo, an Igbo warrior. Achebe illuminated the complexities of African culture and the devastating effects of European colonization. Things Fall Apart became more than just a novel. It became a symbol of African resistance against the oppressive narratives of colonialism. Achebe was not just a writer. He was a passionate advocate for African self-determination, and his political activism made him a critical voice in the post-colonial era. Even after a life marked by personal and political struggles, including a car accident that left him partially paralyzed, Achebe continued to inspire. He taught at Bard College and later Brown University, where his influence reached new generations of writers and thinkers. He was married to Christiana Chinwe Okoli, and they had 4 children. Sadly, he died in March 2013 at the age of 82. Chinua Achebe's legacy endures in his novels, his essays, and in the countless voices of African writers who follow in his footsteps. He gave us a voice, a story, and a vision of Africa that is ours to share.
Welcome back to SOUQ Business Landscape. So the next story. The World Bank has set a target to connect 32 million Nigerians to electricity and provide 58 million more people with access to broadband internet by 2032. The target is part of the bank's new country partnership framework for Nigeria, covering 2026 to 2032. The framework also targets 9.5 million farmers for support to improve agricultural production, value addition, and the market access. The World Bank plans to mobilize $4.1 billion in private capital for infrastructure and agribusiness, with the broader goal of creating more private sector jobs and strengthening Nigeria's economic growth. 32 million Nigerians to have access to electricity. How realistic is this by 2032?
I think it's realistic
Okay.
if we want to do what is needful. I don't think the problem is actually fun for us.
Okay.
It's the fact that we must find the courage to do what is right. That's what is missing in most of Africa, because if all the money that we have pumped into electricity, we have used it rightly, we will not be borrowing money from World Bank to do electricity. Absolutely. I think we have borrowed enough. We have borrowed enough. The bigger problem is the fact that public accountability is a major issue. It's a major issue. I remember during the build-up of a campaign towards 2023, one of the major aspirants said, oh, the biggest mistake they make was that the 6 billion that they are supposed to put into energy, they didn't use it well. And it just ended at that. And now he's saying they should give him the opportunity to go and correct that mistake, rather than put him in jail for squandering our money without results. That's the environment where we find ourselves, because there's little or no accountability. And people really do not see, I don't see anybody in America who would have committed that kind of error and will even stand up to go and buy a form to say you want to contest election. It's not possible. Can't do it in England, where people are resigning because they collected allowance for a hotel and they slept in their uncle's place abroad. And they are made to cover that money. Then we waste $6 billion. And then you come back to us and say, you need people to give you opportunity to go and correct your mistake. Those people should actually be in jail. But unfortunately, we live in an environment where people really do not care about accountability. All people care about is their stomach infrastructure. That's why we are thinking some of all these steps. That I remember a friend of mine told me some years ago and said, I was asking me a question and I really didn't find an answer to it. I said, that since he was born, people who are going to public office in Nigeria, they campaign with, they give you water, they will give you electricity, they will give you good road, they will give you education. That those promises never change. I said, maybe if it changes, Nigerian will cease to exist.
Well, but those are the infrastructures that are needed.
Yeah, but because for over 60 years, we have not been able to correct that. That's what it means. So we are pouring money into it. The more money we pour into it, the more worrisome it becomes. So that's, for me, the real significant issue. So I really wish that we are having men who are a little bit accountable, so that it's not just throwing money at us. Because at whichever case, World Bank is not losing. If we don't pay it this generation, the next generation will pay it. And it is our people that are paying and bearing the brunt. That's my only worry.
All right, so why does this matter? Could reliable electricity, what will it mean? World Bank is saying 32 million Nigerians should have access to electricity. Is it 24 hours stable electricity? Then also, these discos, there's been a back and forth with the federal government. The federal government said, oh, we've paid you. They are saying, no, you're still owing us. And these discos are complaining that they've not gotten back their profit. They've not gotten back half of what has been invested. So how do the discos get themselves out of this, and how do we now project 2032 access for stable and reliable electricity?
You see, these are part of the conversation. Disco is, in my opinion, are not sincere. And they are part of the corruption. Absolutely. Now, when people talk about legacy debt in the electricity sector, most of those money that they are talking about is not money that government agency is owing them.
Okay.
Most of them are for services not delivered. See, that was why when the president set up the committee to reconcile those accounts, because the Gencos are owing gas company to generate money for electricity for Disco. Now, you check in Nigeria, a distribution company, how many new poles since 2013 that they got license have they planted? How many new transmitter has been put in place? Now, this Disco had no money. Even government funded their purchase of this electricity. The major assets that the fund PHAN had, they have sold all the land and sold all the building. But they have not invested in one pole. Anywhere you see a pole that is being hoisted today in Nigeria and wires are connected, you see that the communities they are doing it, the politicians doing it, and paying Disco to extend those services. And even when community buy transformer, they pay the Disco to come and help them install and, according to them, inaugurate the transformer.
Yes. We did that sometime.
See, that is the height of unpatriotism in the world. You can imagine that communities are contributing money for MTN or Airtel to build a mast in their community.
Are they really doing that?
No, I'm just taking you imagine.
Yes.
Consider it. The telecoms are building their mast.
By themselves.
They are laying their cable.
Yes, by themselves.
Not society doing it on their behalf. And there's nobody who is even courageous enough to even ask Disco, why do you exist? All the debt that NEPA could not collect, all the debt that PHCA could not collect, Disco has collected it from people.
But they still have pending debts. If you remember the Ikeja Army Command saga.
No, they don't have. Because when you buy a system, you inherit the assets and the liability. In an accounting system, those debts should naturally be written off. But they didn't write off those debts. If you are entering into a house today and you want to, that house you bought it, and you want to put electricity in it, for them to connect you, those debts you owe NEPA, you go and clear it.
Yeah, the previous person, you have to clear it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Disco is a fraud, to use the right word. And because they have been benefiting from the system, they want to continue to benefit from the system. Because the truth of the matter is that it is their responsibility to be competitive and take electricity to the furthermost part of the country. Because they are not selling electricity for free.
Yes.
In my village, they give them electricity maybe 2 days to the end of the month.
2 days?
Yes.
Out of 30, 31 days.
Because it's not metered, they bring electricity bill. And they're harassing everybody in the community to say, if you don't pay up, they are going to disconnect you. You think that has come. When everybody stops paying, then they disconnect them. They not disconnect them, they stop giving them, supplying them electricity. And they be in darkness for the rest of the month. Those are fraudulent practices that need to stop. And that is why they don't want metering to happen. So in a country where things are done very well and distribution is commercialized, everybody seems to be benefiting. We are saying today that Nigeria is producing over 10,000 kilowatts of electricity. That's what we are generating.
Yes.
But we don't have capacity to transmit above 5,000 kilowatts. And they say now they are forcing the system to transmit about 6,000 kilowatts, which is, of course, they say is the reason why you keep hearing those, there's a language they call it, power collapse. Or
Great collapse.
Yes, grid collapse every day because they are pushing too much energy into it. Now, when you see this kind of a narrative, the quantum does not take in that is lost.
Who pays for it?
A government pays for it.
Should they pay for it? It's lost. Its service is not rendered.
So the gas that you bought to produce or the energy you use in generating that is like a waste. So if DISCO has no capacity to expand operation, then we should take their licenses and give it to people
who can.
Who can. And that's where a lot of people say to govern Nigeria is not a big deal. We just need to be decisive in the way we do things. If you are a distribution company, your responsibility is to take electricity to the uttermost part of the environment that you are given. And if you don't have capacity to do it, give us our license. So we look for somebody who has the capacity to deliver it. And then we don't need, as a society, to borrow money to help DISCO to earn money. Because they are not supplying the rural electricity for free. They are not.
All right, Doctor, I'm trying to understand this theory. You said they are benefiting from not metering. But actually, if you meter every household, they consume more electricity. Thereby, they pay more. Aren't the DISCOs thinking that direction?
No. They don't think consuming more. The estimated billing paid them more than metering. Because in metering, you can regulate what you consume. Yeah, in estimated billing, they give you any bill they feel you have consumed. So that is it. Even when they don't give you no, so the service charge is there.
Yes.
That will continue to come. So they prefer that opaque system because it benefits them more. Otherwise, nobody should be telling DISCO to meter electricity. In short, as a matter of fact, it should be infrastructure. And as where it's even bad is the fact that consumers are willing to pay.
For the sake of having stable, reliable electricity.
Yes. Just look at, recently the federal government said, oh, we want to help with metering. We are going to supply you meters. DISCO, go and install this meter for free for consumers. And they are protesting and said, oh, there's a cost attached to it. It can't come free. So they want to sell the meter that government is selling to them. So this is the environment that I'm talking about. The real problem with electricity in Nigeria is actually that error committed by the Goodluck Jonathan regime to sell electricity to people who have no capacity, to people who have no competence, to people who have no character. That's where the challenge is. And if we have done that privatization well, the way we did the telecoms, where licenses were given to people who had resource, and they invested hugely to transform that sector, we will not be where we are today.
All right, so from this project that the World Bank is proposing, do you think we'll be able to achieve 2032? And how will the World Bank and, of course, the federal government and Nigerian government monitor this project to completion, from start to completion?
You see, Albert Einstein once argued that if you are doing same thing and you are expecting same result, different results, that's the shortest way to define insanity. We have gone through this cycle for too long, and it has not produced what is needed. What government need to do, we don't need a loan. We need to force DISCO to do their work.
Do they have the capacity?
If they don't have the capacity, then we give the license to people who have capacity. We don't need to borrow public money to buy infrastructure for distribution that Genco will own. Because it's not a government company.
Yes.
So that is where the problem lies. So if this is a privately owned enterprise, then they must bear the brunt of supply or distribution of electricity to the uttermost. We give them license. If they cannot, then we look for people who have the capacity, the people who have the competence to do it. And then they get the license to do distribution. It's as simple as that. Look at it. Almost all the discos are run aground. Recently, we heard the Kaduna is taken over by government. The Benin City, the same thing. It's the same thing everywhere. All the assets they inherited, they have squandered it. And no single investment is coming into that space. And then the problem is that Nigerian government cannot give electricity to a citizen. Whereas the person who come to say he want to do business, who had no money, he came with a briefcase, and then you gave him license to enjoy all the benefits without any effort. So for me, really, I think government can borrow money to do better things, infrastructure, where, of course, you don't have private participation. Rather than putting more money, say we are extending electricity to rural area. In my view, I think government only need to give a matching order to DISCO that if within this space of time you cannot do this, then consider your license revoked.
All right, so future outlook. I know Lagos State is doing a whole lot. They're investing a whole lot recently to make sure they go into privatization of power and all that. What should state? I mean, if we say we should not borrow from World Bank, what about state government? Don't you think state government should, step up? PPP? Should we see PPP?
Yeah, I think that's one of the very beautiful reforms that the current regime had done to decentralize power, as it were, not to leave it at the exclusive list and pull it into the concurrent list. It's a beautiful thing. And I think state governments are also taking advantage of that, how to generate, transmit, and distribute their own power. But I hope that they don't make the same mistake that was made at the center. So that when you are generating electricity, then, of course, you must ensure that you have infrastructure that transmits it, and you have the infrastructure that can distribute it. Yes. And if you have to give licenses to people, they must have to be people with capacity, who have the financial muscle to do the business that you are calling them to do. And if you don't have those kind of people, don't give it to riffraffs, who will only be looking for how to use the system to enrich themselves without investing a dime to make profits.
All right, thank you very much, Doctor. Let's move on to the next story. Now, the federal government has taken steps to revive the long-dormant Delta Steel Company in Alaja, Delta State. Now, the plant's current owner, Premium Steel and Mines Limited, has committed more than $1.3 billion to rehabilitate and modernize the facility, with commercial production expected to resume within 18 to 24 months. A new sublease and operation agreement with National Iron Ore Mining Company is expected to provide this plant with sustainable access to iron ore. Now, the revival could create about 25,000 direct and indirect jobs and help strengthen Nigeria's steel industry, industrialization, and economic diversification. So I think we've forgotten about Ajaokuta, and we're moving now to Delta State. What do you see? What are the prospects? What does this mean for Delta State itself?
Well, I think it portends a lot of opportunities. Absolutely, no doubt. But the key question to ask is, why did it die in the first place?
Why did Ajaokuta also die?
Yeah, those are the questions to ask. And if we have the right answers and sincere answers to those fundamental questions, then we will be able to say, okay, what are we going to do differently to ensure that what happened to the first project will not recur in this new investment. Because we are talking about Nigeria borrowing to its throat. If you look at the scorecard of the government that was presented earlier in the week by the coordinating minister of the economy, a whopping 9 trillion had been used in the last 30 months to service our debt.
9 trillion.
9 trillion. So I think that if we must borrow money to do any more business, it must not just be that we want populism. It must be that the viability,
of it,
the sustainability of that business has been considered. That we have done the adequate feasibility so that the bottlenecks that led that business not to survive, that we have taken them completely. And if possible, it has to be a new model, transparently done, such that it is not costing the state so much, but is generating the required returns for both debtor government and the government at the center. So these are, for me, my take on the Alaja project. So we should see it beyond the fact that we want to do something that makes people happy, just to secure some few votes. Because if I come to Alaja and say to people, this Alaja Steel Complex, we are going to revamp it. Every right-taking Alaja sons and daughter will want to say, oh, this government thinks about us, because of the economy it's going to create around us.
25,000 jobs.
Yeah, so it's going to create a huge economy, especially the indirect jobs of women who are going to be selling things around those places. A lot of jobs will be created, whether informal or formal. But we can use it and put money there, and then it go down the drain without achieving its purpose. So I think that the planners must think very clearly, do a thorough feasibility that there's a prospect that this can survive. Because we must not also forget that if we are investing in a project that is not competitive, then, of course, you will not be able to compete. If ions are imported, because Alaja may not be able to produce all that we need, then, and what is brought in is cheaper than what is produced locally.
The purpose is defeated.
It's defeated, which is what happened to almost all Nigerian textiles. So the cost of input is high, but fabrics that are coming from outside are far cheaper than what you are producing locally.
Why is this always so in Nigeria?
Yeah, the cost of production is a function of cost, because price determination in economies is a function of the input that you put into what you are producing. So you factor all the cost input. Here we are still investing heavily in power.
Yes.
We have challenge with logistics.
Yes.
There's a huge problem with the security.
Yes.
So all these are costs that are added to the cost of production. So by the time you factor them in and you look at what is the ex-factory price of whatever thing that you're doing.
Let's go on a short break and we'll be right back.
Fellow Nigerians, did you know that constituency and executive projects in your communities are not gifts from your legislators? They are projects sponsored by the legislators and funded by the federal government to improve your life and the lives of those around you. These projects belong to you. Without your vigilance, they might never be completed. Don't allow them to fade away into unfulfilled promises. Stand up, take ownership, monitor their progress, demand accountability, and report concerns to ICPC. Call our toll-free line now on 0800-2255-4272 or WhatsApp only on 0806-656-4726. This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, with support from MacArthur Foundation and the Center for Democracy and Development in Africa, CDD.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Welcome back to SOUQ Business Landscape. So, Doctor, you were about to land on your point.
Yeah, the point I was making is that we need to look at the factors that make it previously not work, that we have done the proper feasibility and ensure that the things that makes this thing not to work, we have taken them off the line before we can do new investment. Otherwise, it will just be mere populism, and that may not be too good for a country whose debt profile is so high that from the report that Oyedele gave to us, we have done, in 30 months, servicing our debt with about 9 trillion.
So
This is so huge.
how important is the local production of steel to Nigeria's industrialization?
Absolutely, it will be one of the engine for the transformation of industrialization. Because if you have to produce cars, you will need steel. If you have, whatever thing that you would need to produce, you need steel.
Materials.
So those materials are produced locally. You don't need to ship them from. It's just like the same advantage we're talking about refining petrol in Nigeria. We have a whole resource base here. Bitumen, we have iron ore, all manners of things that is required for this industry to work. God has given it to us. So if we just, because we are not going to import those things to produce, we will just take them from within and use them to develop that sector. But the willpower for people to be able to live above what I'll call this selfish and greedy nature toward public institution, if we take that away, things may become quite nice. And I think that's my way of seeing that.
All right, lastly, do you think we can go from importing steel to exporting steel? And what would that do to our export earnings?
We can, of course. Nigeria has one of the greatest potential. Translating that potential into material substance is where we are at the crossroad. And I think that if we become a little more patriotic, nationalistic in our instinct,
yes,
there's this possibility. Nigeria will be borrowing money again to World Bank and IMF.
All right, thank you very much, Doctor. Let's move on to the last story for today. At least 29 Nigerian states recorded 435 billion naira in revenue from a relatively new Federation Allocation Committee intervention for infrastructure and security between January and June 2026, based on available half-year budget implementation report. Now, the funding is classified in state financial records as state infrastructure and security under the National Chart of Accounts Code. Now, it's separate from conventional FAAC statutory allocations, although the funds are distributed through the Federation account. No funding was recorded under the intervention during the corresponding period of 2025, highlighting its emergence as an additional revenue stream for state governments. The allocation could strengthen spending on roads, public facilities, and security infrastructure, but it also increases the need for transparency and effective implementation. I like the last word, transparency and effective implementation. Now, this is another report that, apart from the regular allocation states are getting, they're also getting infrastructure and security. That's even apart from security funds. So, and I know you've always said this, what are the governors? We need to start asking governors, what are they doing? So what are states doing with this funds that they are collecting? How will it benefit the state?
Well, I think it would just be nice. I was listening to Mr. President's words of advice to His Excellency Ademola Adeleke yesterday when he visited him. And he said to him, he should be grateful to God and the people of Osun for giving him that mandate to again govern them for another 4 years.
Yes.
And he felt that the way to celebrate that victory is not just to sing them a song alone, but is to translate it into action. That he should not just sing it, he should act it by way of infrastructure development and all of that. And I said, let's look at the trajectory. That even some of your predecessors, they earned the name of half salary. That it became their nickname. Not because that they were wicked people. The resources that was coming to them was not good. If they had what you had, they would have done better. And I think, like they say, a word is always enough for the wise. And that for me was a very profound counsel to a brother. To say, you have the opportunity. Do good to the people who have sacrificed their time, their resource to support you, to lead them. And I think that counsel applies to all governors across the Federation. That we're not simply just embarking on wide elephant projects just to take money off the state, but that we're actually affecting the economy of the citizens within our space. That's quite very fundamental. Because to say the least, states are getting money. This last FAC meeting in Aba, the federal government shared over 3 trillion naira.
Yes.
The biggest in the history of this country. You know, Akpabio was making a joke of it the other time in the National Assembly, that some of them are becoming envious of governors, that they had wished that this kind of resources that is entering into their hand, in their own time, they had that kind of resource. So I think it's incumbent on state governors, local government chairmen, who are receiving this fund, the fact that they are shielded in public debate about what they do with money should not be enough for them to stay aloof in investing in the lives and the future of their citizens. Because all the debate about governance in Nigeria ends up in one man's table, and that's the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I wish that we are dragging the governors the way we are dragging the president. Maybe there'll be a change in the way people apply resource.
So, right, so future outlooks. Could citizens see better roads, better public infrastructure, more security infrastructure?
Well, absolutely. I think here and there are a lot of some of these good things that are happening. I was talking to somebody the other day, and he said to me, oh, if you go to Enugu State now, at least the governor has done well. So you can see visible things that the governor is doing. People can say that of Abia State government. People can, in short, I was listening to the member of House of Representatives yesterday who was saying that if you come to Kano, you will see what the Kano governor is doing. And I think all the governors that are receiving money, they must understand that we need to invest in the future of our citizens. It's quite important. They need good schools. They need good healthcare system. They need good road infrastructure. These are given in some environment. And government must understand that it's their responsibility, that if they have public fund in their hands, they must use it for the good of citizens, not just to better themselves and their immediate family alone, but for the common good of all the people who are within the space. So if people have that kind of a mindset, then of course, citizens will live better. Because just imagine that all the PHC are working, that the local government has activated all the PHCs, the primary health care centers. The pressure on the general hospitals at the state level will reduce. The pressure on the teaching hospital will reduce. Because sicknesses and ailments that could be handled at PHC, people have to wait until they have more money, and then it becomes complicated. Then we are taking them to either tertiary hospital or taking them to secondary hospitals. So these are the issues that needs to be addressed. So if states are living to expectation, local governments are living to their expectations, then of course there will be good life for all. And then we remove a lot of people out of poverty and into shared prosperity.
All right, so less than a minute, should government publish detailed account of how these funds are being spent?
Well, I think, to the best of my knowledge, some of those data are out there.
Okay.
For example, FAQ has been shared.
Yes.
Everybody knows what each state got.
Yes.
Everybody knows what is in the budget of each state.
Yes.
Because every year, we present this budget to the people. Assembly. And then the people take the decision and said, okay, we approve this budget. Oh, like I do, we are doing 500 billion. So at the end of the year, we should even be able to put our calculator without listening to them to say, what came in from FAQ? So if we had 350 billion from FAQ in this year, and your budget is performing at below 40%, what did you do with the money? Accountability can start from there. We don't even need the data because we have access to the data to challenge those who are in authority. Because every year, the Federal Ministry of Finance publishes the allocations that get to state and gets to local governments. So it is our responsibility to understand that, okay, although this month you have received this amount of money, this is about 10% of the entire money that is coming for your budget. What are you doing with this money this month? So we can't say there are no data. Data are valuable if we want to hold our people accountable. So I think these are the things that by the time people are asking, then they themselves come out to explain and say, okay, oh, we are spending so much money in pension. we have spent such money in paying salary. We have spent such money in building this road. And then people can say, oh, this road, is it worth the value that you have put on it? So we can really create an accountability framework if people will put eye on what is happening in the states.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Idahosa Osamaze, for your thoughts and opinions on the business landscape. Thank you very much.
A pleasure to be here as always.
All right, and that's our SOUQ business landscape for today, from digital payments to energy, electricity, to industrial development and state financing. Today's stories show how policy, investment, and global markets development can directly affect businesses, jobs, and the cost of living. I am Olumide Shukoya. Thank you for watching SOUQ Business Landscape. Stay informed, stay ahead, and always look beyond the headlines. Have a productive day.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
The National Assembly, in collaboration with the African Development Studies Center, ADSC, held a 5-day national capacity building workshop on treaties, agreements, and protocols for federal MDAs, with the theme, Enhancing Institutional Capacity for Effective Treaty Negotiation, Implementation, and Oversight in Nigeria. Honorable Barrister Rabiu Yusuf, Chairman of the House Committee on Treaties, Protocols, and Agreements in the 10th Assembly, highlighted the importance of strengthening the skills of key government officials in treaty processes.
At this particular moment of our country, we need a situation whereby all the stakeholders involved in external engagement with other countries, particularly state and the federal governments, and mostly MDAs of the at national level, to ensure that they are aware, they know what it takes, they know how it will be, and they know what it takes to ensure they institutionalize democracy and the legal approach as far as ratification, engagement, domestication of treaties. That is why the 10th National Assembly, under the able leadership of the Right Honorable Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, mandated our committee, pursuant to Section 12, Sub 2 of the Constitution, that we should reach out to all necessary stakeholders who are personally stakeholders on this engagement to ensure they know how it takes and they know how to execute it. Basically, that's the reason we are conducting this exercise.
Actually, I think there is no point for me to deliver my remark at this time, because I'm very much aware that my remarks have been delivered yesterday in distinction. So in either words, I will just say I sincerely appreciate your presence in this program, and I believe it will go far in helping the system, stimulating the system, and work for the Nigerian progress. So I wish you a fruitful discussion and a successful outcome. Thank you very much.
The major challenge, everybody is going silo, in the sense that we are not trying to bring ourselves into the same table to ensure that before you find any entity, be it state, local governments, or federal entity, as far as engagement is concerned with other outside worlds, you need to know there are provisions of the Constitution which you need to comply. Failure to comply with that provision of the Constitution, whatever you do, it will go to a nullity, invalid, and is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution. And to the extent of that inconsistency, it is null and void, and of no effect whatsoever. So we're trying to avoid this scenario whereby at national level or at international fora, Nigeria will be embarrassed because the stakeholders, the principal actors, they didn't even know what they are doing. So that is why we decided at this particular moment, it is rife and necessary to ensure that we engage with unnecessary stakeholders. That is the basic reasons for engaging these activities. Actually, I recommend their effort to any other entity, because if you can see, most of them, they are legal luminaries. They know their audience, they know what they are doing. So I really appreciate, they did a very wonderful job. And I sincerely appreciate. That's the main reason that I say I need to be here in Lagos, at least to supervise the happening in Lagos. And I'm impressed. You know, engagement with outside world, it is two ways. It is going to be either bilateral or multilateral. So with this kind of workshop, or with this kind of discourse, we believe the principal actors will now know what it takes to enter a treaty. And if they comply with what they are taught in this session, if they advise their principal when they go back to their respective MDA on the right way to go, I believe most of the treaties will be legally binding in Nigeria, provided they follow the procedure laid down by the Constitution. The future is bright. And the future, you know, we will ensure in the future that all the treaties, all the agreements, all the international protocols have been observed to the latter, have been protected and enforced as it is enshrined in the Constitution. And with this kind of workshop, we believe we will create a series of events whereby we will engage other parties, other necessary stakeholders. We just set the ball rolling, and we will be there, inshallah.
Also sharing insights on the workshop, the clerk of the House Committee on Treaties, Protocols and Agreements discussed the value of the training in improving the understanding and application of international agreements across MDAs. He noted that the engagement served as an eye-opener, equipping participants with tools for more effective negotiation and oversight.
I'm a Nigerian, I'm a citizen of Nigeria, and I want Nigeria to benefit from its interaction with the international community, and it starts from things like this. For us to be able to interact well, we need to know what it entails to engage in the international community. When we are talking about treaties, what does it entail to enter into treaties? How do we do that? How do we negotiate? How do we implement? How do we oversight as a parliament? So it is my duty as a clerk of the committee to advise the chairman and the committee members on how to go on all these issues. And also very instrumental to the organization of this workshop today. Our partners, the facilitators, are very, very excellent. We appreciate them. And it's also a collaborative effort between us and them. And so far, so good. What we have ensured so far has been fantastic. The participants are very, very impressed. I myself am impressed. And I also, there are some things I'm taking home. For instance now, Nigerians used to think before that our negotiators who negotiate treaties will just go abroad, go on tea party, shopping, but it's not more the case. By what I'm seeing here now, I can see experts, technocrats who know their honors, who take the bull by the horn and do what's supposed to do. That one has been established. Even our facilitators can attest to that as well. Another thing is that the quality of ideas being shown and being given us here is very, very apt to our situation presently, so that we can apply in our situation in Nigeria. And going forward, if this lesson continues, it's going to impact a lot, because the MDs, many of the MDs are here, even state governments, like Kogi State Government is here, the SSG is here, the Attorney General of Plateau State was also here, and also some top directors in the federal MDA, they are here. So it's a high-class, high-level engagement workshop. We are in a political environment, I must tell you that. But we, technocrats, are supposed to be the advisors and movers of policies. So they don't need to bend. They need to stick to the rule. And I also to advise our government, our leaders, that as well as they are making policies, they should also consider the benefits, the interest of the country, not just politics. They should not play politics with it. They should consider the interest of the country first, and also the people. It's an appeal that everybody that has a responsibility to do, either in the public service, or in private sector, in government, do your responsibility as much as you can. In a good faith, in sincerity. Don't put your personal interests above national interests.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be here to make a closing remarks for and on behalf of His Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, 10th National Assembly, Right Honorable Tajudeen Abbas. He has mandated me to deliver this goodwill closing remarks. We appreciate your time, your dedication, and your effort in trying to attend this program and attentively pay attention to the discourse and further issue being deliberated here. And it is believed that this message you have learned here, or what you have learned here, will be passed towards your chief executive officers, and at the same time you will guide them in achieving the necessary mandates in deciding issues of treaties, obligation of treaties, and what have you. So at this juncture, on behalf of the Right Honorable Speaker, we wish you a safe return to your various destinations, and we believe you will pass the message to all other necessary stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Olumorok, Lishabi, and the people of Egbala, a story of resilience and transformation. Telling the story from afar may not be as beautiful as visiting the historical scene for a more engaging storytelling.
I welcome you to the foot of Olumorok. So climbing the rock is in two ways. Either you go through the panoramic elevator or the stairs, but whichever way you choose to go through, I'm assuring you are going to land at the topmost part of Olumorok safely. So Olumorok is like every other rock you've ever climbed or know about, but it plays an important role in the life of the people of Egba during an intertribal war between the Egba and Oyo Empire.
History and culture are the intertwined thread that shape the identity of a people, offering a glimpse into their past struggles, triumphs, and the rich traditions that continue to define their presence.
So from here we can have the glance view of the immediate environment around Olumorok, because Olumorok is centered at the middle of Abeokuta. But when we get to the topmost part on Olumorok, we are going to have the 360 degree of the view, which means the more you go, the more you see. So I want to encourage you to
brace up.
Brace up so that we can get to the topmost part of the rock. So let's move.
History is what we bring to you today. What is the connection between Olumorok, Lishabi, and the Egba people? My name is Grace Komolafe, and this is SOUQ Perspective. Let me take you on an inspiring journey through the history of one of Nigeria's most significant landmarks. Come with me.
I welcome you to the first level on Olumorok.
Thank you.
So this is the first level on the rock. Olumorok is in 3 stages, from the ground floor to the first landing scape. I want to inform you that you have climbed 120 stairs to come this far. Can you give yourself a round of applause for that? And I'm sure you are fit to climb to the topmost part in Olumorok.
I'll try.
That's great to know. So the first level of Olumorok is called Lishabi Garden. Lishabi Garden is named after one of our past warriors called Lishabi Agbungbakala. Lishabi was one of the warriors that fought for Egba to gain their freedoms from old Oyo Empire. It is a natural garden set aside for people to take relaxation. after climbing the first level of the rock. Also at this spot, we have two trees that we can talk about. The first one is Dongoyaro tree. This is it here. Dongoyaro tree. English call it neem tree. It botanicizes as Adirata indica. If you get from its leaf and cook cassava and drink, it kills malaria. And if you drink from its stick, it clears bad breath from mouth. Also, its name is derived from an Hausa face, which means tall boy, Doko Yaro. This is a flamboyant tree. Its botanic is Dilonis regia. It produces some lumpo. Look at the branches. If you get from those brown pods, there are some seed inside it. When it dries up, if you tap or shake, give a kind of sound sheke sheke. And that was where the Yoruba derived its name from. That is why we call it pansheke in the Yoruba land. The pots serve as a natural musical rattle for traditional dancers, nursing mother to play with, before the invent of tambourine and some other musical instruments. When we go up on Olumo Rock, we are going to turn and visit all historical places. There are some shrines and worshippers around Olumo Rock. They are not harmful. They are here to showcase our cultural and traditional heritage. So I wish you a pleasant trip as we rock.
Olumo Rock, a striking natural formation rising 137 meters, which is about 450 feet above Abeokuta, Nigeria. It's more than just a tourist attraction. It is a symbol of Egba people's endurance. The story of Olumo Rock begins in the early 19th century when it was identified by the hunter named Adagba. Though details on how Adagba discovered the rock were limited, it is well documented that the Egba people facing oppression under the Oyo Empire sought refuge here. This is the cave. This was where the people of Egba took refuge during the war. From that side, there are some dripping water. Some water is to drop from that side. It is tagged the medicinal water of Olumo Rock. Whenever the water is gushing, traditional believers always come to pick from its drop. And they claim it cures so many ailments in the body. But the water is not flowing now because God determines when the water flows. And this grave, that's the resting place of Chief Sonny. The grave of Chief Sonny. Chief Sonny was the OC of Itoko during his lifetime. Olumo Rock is founded between two communities. The entry point of Olumo Rock, where you came in from, is called Ikija, while the backside of Olumo Rock is called Itoko community. And this is a chieftaincy title in the Yoruba land. That is the chief sitting at the lesser of the king in palace. As we have the Otunba and Osioba, Osi two top position to the king. According to the custom and tradition of Yoruba, when the chief died, they bury the chief either at the front of his house, at his bedroom, or at his backyard. He must never be taken to a cemetery. That was why Baba was buried here. And this rostry roof building is the family house of Chief Sonny. The family has an extension. Baba dies on the 23rd of January 1956. 20 years after his death, government took over this place as a tourist site. That was why government decided to fence the family house so that they will not be blocking up the passage of the tourists. So the people of Egba took refuge here during an intertribal war. The war started in 1830. Then the people of Egba were under old Oyo Empire. They basically want freedoms and where to settle. That was why they consulted the Ifa Oracle for lead. Ifa instructed the Egbas to come and settle there. On their way coming down, they met a man on the road. The name of the man is called Adagba. Adagba was a great hunter farmer. He was the one that discovered Olumo Rock during his hunting process. During those periods,
the entire city of Abeokuta was thick forest. Only the powerful ones and the warriors that could come around to do anything and return back home alive. But when the fire instructed the Egbas to come, Shodeke, who was one of the founding fathers of Egba land, led the people of Egba down here. And they were here for years. During their stay, they took the natural suspension shape of the rock advantage and built their rooms. The rock is naturally standing. They only took the advantage of the shape and built their room. So the rock served as the roof of the room. 4 of the rooms they built as collapsed remains only that. Those are the signs of the fallen rooms. That was where they kept wives and children. Men and warriors will surround the rock so that the enemy will not gain access to this place. All these holes you are seeing on the surface of the rock, that was where they do their grindings. Like we use blenders now, Yoruba call it oluata. So the process of their grindings make the holes deep like this. After the war in 1833, the people of Egba from Ifa could to confirm maybe they should leave this place to go back to where they came from. Ifa told them to keep on dwelling here, that this is where God has put an end to their problems. And that's how they derived the name to the rock, Olufimo. Olufimo means where God put an end to all our tribulations. Ibiti Oluwa fi ogun, wahala ti dààmú ayé wa mọ̀ sí Olufimo. But people later shorten it to Olumo to gain a very short word. Another meaning to Olumo, Olu in a Yoruba land means God. That's God Almighty. Mo means mold or molded. The people then believe that God benevolently molded the rock for them so that they can take their refuge under it. Oluwa ló mọ̀ fún wa láti fi ṣe ibi ìsádi kúrò lọ́wọ́ ọ̀tá. God molded the rock for our refuge. So when they came out from the rock, others were asking the Egbas of their whereabouts, and they told them, hid ourselves under the rock. Under the rock or beneath the rock in Yoruba means Abe Okuta. And that was how the name got changed from Egba, and they started referring to them as Omo Abe Okuta. Also, the popular city of Abe Okuta started from here. So if you have been anywhere around the town and you have not visited here, you haven't been to Abe Okuta.
The name Olumo is derived from the Yoruba words Olu means God and Mo meaning molded, signifying God-molded rock. This reflects the deep spiritual connection the Egba have with the rock, seeing it as a divine creation that shaped their destiny. Today, the rock remains not only a historical site, but a place of cultural rituals, including annual sacrifices.
Over here, we have the main shrine of Olumo Rock, the main shrine of the rock. The main shrine is a local temple where the people of Egba worship and make sacrifices to the deities of Olumo Rock. Olumo Rock is an historical monument. It's also a symbol of Egba unity, strength, and unfailing protection. Because under the rock, the people of Egba took refuge during an intertribal war. And after the war, the rock has become a deity. That is why Egba people offer sacrifice to Olumo Rock once in a year with a big black cow. During the festival, only 2 people have access to enter the shrine. That is why the shrine is always locked. And the 2 people are the paramount ruler of Egba land, that's Alake of Egba land, and the chief priest. The chief priest is called Abore in the Yoruba land. Other traditional rulers in Abeokuta invited guests, indigenous of Abeokuta, will stay outside to say amen to his prayer. During the festival, the Alake of Egba land will pray for the whole nation. He pray for Egba unity. Also the climbers of Olumo Rock so that they will not fall. No one has ever fallen while climbing the rock. Also at the shrine, traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. When the prayer is answered, those that made pledges while praying will come back to redeem their pledge, ensuring appreciation to Almighty God and to Olumo that interceded for them. That is why we have those feather, blood, and cloth on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of pledges people have been returning. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba. There are 4 traditional rulers in Abeokuta: Alake of Egba land, the paramount ruler of Egba land, Oshilo of Okeono, Agora of Bagora, and Olowu of Owo. Traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. Maybe they are looking for words, children, or anything in life. So when the prayer is answered, those that make pledges while praying will usually come back with their pledges. That's why we have those feather, blood, and stuff on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of the pledges. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba, meaning a deity you can pray through for words, children, and every other good things in life.
You might be wondering about the historical issues between Oyo and the Egba people. How Oyo to exert control over them. The western region of Nigeria, primarily composed of Yoruba descendants, was dominated by the Oyo Empire, a powerful political entity that rose to prominence around the 15th century. By the 18th century, Oyo had become one of the largest and most influential states in West Africa, known for its sophisticated governance, military strength, and expansive trade networks, controlling neighboring kingdoms, including the Egba. The governance of the Oyo Empire was centralized under the Alafi, the king, who was supported by a council of advisors and provincial governors. This structure enabled the empire to maintain stability and enforce laws across its vast territories. At its peak, Oyo thrived economically through agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship, establishing itself as a vibrant economic hub. However, its involvement in the transatlantic slave trade created significant instability in the region, leading the Egba people to seek independence from Oyo's control. Who is Lishabi? No story about the Egba people is complete without mentioning Lishabi, the legendary warrior whose courage and strategic leadership freed the Egba people from the oppressive dominance of the Oyo Empire. Lishabi heroism is etched deeply in the annals of Yoruba history, as he led a rebellion that broke the chance of subjugation and paved the way for Egba autonomy. Lishabi Agbongbo Akala, a native of Itoku, Abeokuta, was not just a fearless leader, but also a tactician. In the late 18th century, the Egba were subject to heavy taxation and constant exploitation under Oyo's rule. To resist this, Lishabi secretly mobilized a group of Egba farmers and hunters into a covert warrior society called Egbearo, a vital step in organizing the rebellion. With his deep understanding of the terrain and his influence over his people, Lishabi led a series of coordinated guerrilla attacks against Oyo forces stationed in the Egba region. His strategy was not one of open warfare, but a methodical plan to undermine Oyo's authority. By ambushing Oyo tax collectors and military detachments, Lishabi weakened the empire's grip over the Egba. His leadership unified the Egba people, turning their frustration with Oyo into a force for liberation. Following their eventual victory, the Egba people were freed from the oppressive rule. In 1830, this newfound freedom led to the establishment of Abeokuta, meaning under the rock, a city founded under the protective watch of Olumorok. Olumorok provided both a literal and symbolic refuge as it sheltered their people during their struggle for resilience. His actions not only ensured the survival of the Egba people, but also contributed to the rich historical and cultural fabric of Abeokuta and the entire Yoruba as a whole. By the mid-19th century, Abeokuta had attracted European missionaries like Thomas Freeman, whose introduction of Western education and Christianity left a lasting influence on the community.
Inscription about the just a little write-up. The next part is crown tree. Crown tree. Yoruba call it Igi Akoko. If a king has to be installed, or they want to make a chieftaincy title in a Yoruba land, they pluck from the leaf Ewe Akoko to coronate king. But this very one is mainly used for the paramount ruler of this town, Alake of Egala, only for him. And the tree has been growing there for over 250 years. It doesn't grow than this. So it has been. Poster of the newly studied Iyaolumo, she's 98 years of age. And this is a poster reflecting the old Iyaolumo. She died at the age of 137 years, over 2 years ago now. They have a deity they worship here. They call it Orisha Igu. Orisha Igu. That's the deity that controls longevity. They believe the more they worship, the longer they live. So they have other deities around. One of such is Orisha Ojubo Obaluaye. Obaluaye is the deity that controls chickenpox and measles. Yoruba call it Shopono. So if chickenpox or measles is striking all over, they do consultation from here. So whatever instruction they get, so once they follow it, everything that comes up will disappear at the go. So that's Ojubo Obaluaye right there. And this Ogun, god of iron, the famous god of iron. So, we have a baobab tree here. Baobab tree, B-A-O-B-A-B. In the eastern part of Nigeria, they call it Afon-Apunwa. In the northern part, they call it Kuka. Here in Southwest, we call it Gioshe. It Botanica Sadansonia digitata. The encounter of the tree is that traditional believers always come on there to pray for protections. Because there's an adage in the Yoruba land that goes those. Wanipo do ikapa, apa okapa, wọ́n do ika igi oshe, apa okoshe, wọ́n do ika konga, konga oshe binukosi. Meaning there's no way you can wrap your arms around the tree. It is impossible because of its massiveness. That's why traditional believers always come on there to pray for protections. So that's the Gioshe right there. On the floor here we have the faces of the warlord. Those that fought for Egba to gain their liberations. So their memorial sculpture was molded here. And the white share you are seeing there, that's type of money spent in the olden days. Cowrie share, Yoruba call it Owo-Eyo. But now they know it for a fact consultation and traditional decoration. That's the olden days money spent in the olden days. Also they use it for a fact consultation. The ancient route to the peak of Olumo Rock. Before modernization, this is the only means of going up the rock. The ancient route is a natural passage used by the warriors to access the rock.
Today, Olumo Rock stands as a beacon of history, attracting visitors from all over the world who seek to understand the resilience of the Egba people, showcasing various historical pieces, traditional items, and, on the other hand, the establishment and continuous celebration of the Lishabi festival. In the evolution of the Egba from warriors and hunters to craftsmen, traders and national leaders, their history illustrates the power of unity and determination. Lumorok continues to tell the story of a people who overcame oppression to build a vibrant, self-sustaining community.
I welcome you to the topmost part in Lumorok. From here you can see almost everywhere in Abeokuta. And the height of the rock is 137 meters above sea level. That's about 449 feet.
This is the rich, unyielding legacy of Olumorok, Lishabi, and the Egba people, a narrative of survival, courage, and transformation. Now you see the connection. You see the missing link. I am Grace Komolafe, and this is SOUQ Perspective on SOUQ News Television.
Health remains one of life's greatest assets. Without it, productivity slows, dreams fade, and families struggle under the weight of medical bills. In a city as dynamic as Lagos State, access to affordable healthcare has become more than a social need. It is an economic necessity. That is why the Lagos State Health Management Agency, LASHMA, says it is taking the bull by the horns, driving compulsory health insurance, widening access, and pushing reforms designed to ensure that no resident is left behind. Present at the event were the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Health Management Agency, LASHMA, Dr. Emanuela Zamba, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information and Strategy, and Chief Host, Olanrewaju Bajulaye, the Vice Chancellor of Lagos State University, Professor Ibiyemi Olatunji Bello, ably represented, officials from the education and health sectors, media professionals, partner organizations, including the International Society of Media and Public Health, as well as students and parents, all gathered for the quarterly engagement aimed at reviewing progress and strengthening public awareness. According to the report compiled by Praise Matthias, the program opened with the national anthem, followed by a welcome address that set the tone for a day focused on healthcare access, youth engagement, and accountability. Bajulaye commended students who participated in the Ilera Eko essay competition and praised parents for raising future leaders.
Let me welcome you all to this very special program. Very special one in the sense that today for the first time we are actually taking care of our future. I sat down there and I saw the children and I said to myself, anything that you want done, you should let it be done by the children. And it is not strange when the Bible says I want to congratulate the winners of the competition. But the message is this: to the future leaders, the leaders of tomorrow. I'm from engineering. The seven of our students in mechanical engineering is part of the winner. I said, wow, that's fine. That one simply means, irrespective of your field, you can provide a solution. And I want to applaud you, the future leaders, that you should not delay. Your ingenuity, creativity is appreciated. I know there will be many entries. For you to have one of the winners is a team that should be appreciated, and we are appreciating.
The permanent secretary of the agency, Dr. Emanuela Zamba, expressed appreciation to all guests for being present at the engagement. Speaking on the reason for the parley, she noted that it is their commitment to remain transparent and be accountable, and it is part of their deliberate efforts to keep Lagos residents informed about their activities and achievements. On the policy update, she said the agency has intensified enforcement of the executive order mandating compulsory health insurance for all Lagos residents and workers. According to her, ministries, departments, and agencies (MDAs) have undergone compliance checks, while public-facing agencies can now verify enrollment status through their portals.
I'm pleased to report that in the first quarter of 2026, the agency trained 72 journalists in 2 batches in collaboration with ISMPH on social health insurance. Please clap for us now. This initiative underscores the critical role of health writers in amplifying the right message. We commend your professionalism and your continued partnership. You will recall that the Lagos State government, under the visionary leadership of Mr. Governor, signed an executive order in 2024 mandating health insurance coverage across the state. Following this, the agency has intensified enforcement efforts across ministries, departments, and agencies, resulting in increased enrollment among public servants. We appreciate the head of service, Mr. Olabode Agboro, for inaugurating the enforcement team and issuing directives that have significantly strengthened compliance. Today, I am pleased to inform you that the agency has completed its first compliance assessment of NDAs. Agencies with public interface can now verify residents' enrollment status seamlessly through their portals. In addition, National has expanded stakeholder engagement across local government areas and local council development areas in line with recommendations from previous engagements. To further improve operational efficiency, the agency has restructured its sales department, introducing roles such as cluster managers for the senatorial districts, area coordinators for the local governments and local council development areas. This restructuring enhances grassroots presence, expands access to enrollment points, and simplifies administration processes across the state. Healthcare providers are also being trained in line with the executive order, and the next phase of enforcement will focus on provider compliance.
Providing updates on implementation of the governor's executive order, technical assistant to the permanent secretary, Dr. Nifesimi Akinagbe, said enforcement is progressing in phases. The first phase targets ministries, departments, and agencies. Future phases will extend to the informal sector, vulnerable groups, and corporate Lagos.
As our practice, every quarterly media planning, we're going to be giving an update on Mr. Governor's executive order, EOPS 01/2024, and it's the order of mandatory subscription, mandatory enrollment on the Lagos State Social Health Insurance Scheme, which is called ILERA ECO. So what I've said in all that English is that ILERA ECO is now compulsory in Lagos State. That's what that executive order is saying. Apart from the baseline assessment at the MDAs, we also did what we call the facility compliance readiness assessment. We went into